Hi, welcome to episode number 7 of Humorous with Motley. Today we've got Pete. This is a really cool episode. Please don't forget to subscribe and click the notifications button to get notified.
But you guys are gonna obviously cut things. You're gonna edit it a little bit, right? It's not completely off.
No, of course.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm going to totally edit it. No, I'm not gonna edit it at all.
Boom.
Yo.
Pieter,
Hello.
is that how I say your name?
You can say whatever as long as it's not a swear word, you can say whatever you want to.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. I thought I'd start off with the word. Spoke to somebody by the name of Cassie. She's a coach here. You obviously know very well.
Yeah.
Thought I'd start off with the word
Jeepers, guys.
Can you tell me?
Okay, so
can you tell me about this word?
You're gonna beep a lot of this out.
The story behind it.
I say,
you don't have to get into the sort of.
I say it fairly often.
Oh,
I mean,
do
for
you?
me,
Okay.
it's actually a cool word.
Does it help when you work?
Yeah, absolutely. I have no problem with the word whatsoever. I do understand that some people find it really offensive. So for me, I'm sorry I used it, but I think it's a beautiful word.
Oh no, I mean I wasn't even going along the track of you being sorry. I just found it quite funny the way Cassie explained it. So
Me using the word.
yes.
Oh, so
Apparently you said it, so you're like, ooh.
I completely misunderstood your question. But yeah, I think, this is all part of a bigger like personal philosophy and a bigger worldview that I kind of have started adopting. It doesn't work in church though. So it does get quite uncomfortable. So for me, I am straddling two worlds here, so to speak. It's a thin line. And so I find in the CrossFit gym, the box, there's a safe space. At least as long as I keep it fairly internal.
Yes.
But when it's a small group situation or praise and worship kind of environment, obviously I'm not going to shout it out loud. No. Anyway, we're going to cut this part out, right?
Yeah,
This is very rough.
No, that was a good start. Okay. So I overheard in a conversation that you grew up in George.
Yes.
Went to
Outeniqua,
If you can just,
So I was born in Cape Town, and then when I was about 3, we moved to George, and like bog standard town. Very glad to leave, but I think sometimes, I think it really pushed me as a creative. When you're surrounded by mediocrity and ugliness, if you've got any kind of creativity, you seek out beauty and you want more. And so for me, George was a place, I think, where I was surrounded by it's the most mediocre place visually.
Yes.
Some people are lovely, beautiful areas to live in, beautiful mountains, but just so visually mediocre. And I think I never, for me, the crazy experience was coming to Cape Town for the first time. I said to my dad, I want to go to the National Gallery. And we went to the National Gallery, and I did art history at school, and we always, we'd study all these incredible artists and stuff, but they were photocopies in notes. And so I saw a Cecil Scottness painting for the first time that I'd been studying in high school, but a photocopy of it. And I think that's kind of George for me. It's a photocopy of life, but not the real thing.
Okay.
And so I was really glad to get out of there.
So when you saw the real thing, what?
I got out. I went, cheers, George. I was 17 years old and my parents dropped me off here and they said, listen, mate, make something of yourself.
Good.
My mom said to me, there's no way you're going to stay behind here. You don't even think you're going to live in this house after you graduated from a trek. And I was like, don't worry, you raised me differently. So I got out there as quickly as possible. And since leaving George, I think I went back twice a year, even when I was 17, 18 years old. It was just because there was nothing there for me. There's some good people, but I think George for me is always, if I look back on George, it's a sad time for me. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm glad that that's the place where I can leave those things.
And if you were having a conversation with your 17-year-old self now and he saw you doing what you're doing now in the gym, do you think you could have predicted that?
I think he would have been disappointed that I didn't start sooner, because he was harder on himself than I am on myself now.
Okay.
And I don't think he would have anticipated all what my life would have been now, or is now. There's no way. He probably still would have gone, where's the flat in Clifton when you were 24? Because when I was, the other day I found this thing, it was my 5, 10, 15, 20-year plan, and I wrote it when I was 16 years old. And understand, for me, I knew I was going to move to Cape Town, but I had no really reference of what Cape Town was. So all I knew was top billing, you know. And so I used to watch Top Billing what a joke. Yeah. But I used to watch Top Billing when I was in high school, and I thought, like, that's actually how you live when you work one day.
Yeah.
If you're not living in George. And so all this, like, you know, when I'm 22, I'm going to be a creative director. I'm going to have a Vespa, and I'm going to have a flat in Clifton. And that didn't happen. But yeah, shame. 17-year-old Pieter didn't know anything.
Oh gosh.
But bless, God is gracious and patient, and you know, life turns out better.
So now that you're on Cape Town and living and thriving in the advertisement industry, can you talk more about that? Where you work? What do you do?
Well, I work at Duke, same as Wayno here did a while ago.
Yeah.
As design director, /designer, / whatever I need to do, which is quite refreshing because I'd been in a couple of agencies before, and there it was very much, you kind of have your role and you do it, and you're part of you're on an Excel spreadsheet that someone in Paris decides where you move to, or if you stay or you don't, you get retrenched or you don't, or whatever. So it's really strange for me to be in an environment where it's very much like, as it comes in, we're very flexible and we kind of take it as it goes. Whereas I'm used to, my past experiences was very much, I think it goes back to even high school. I was in a high school of about 1,500 or 1,300 people, and that's only for grade 8 to grade 12. So they also, you easily become a number. And so I was comfortable with it, because the whole thing with being a number is make sure you're the boldest, strongest, the one with the underline. So I don't mind it. But now it's interesting because you just do your best and you go with it. And it's actually really nice to be in a team where people, they care about each other, they want you to do well. Quite a lot of deprogramming I had to do over the years. I think around value also, and I think that ties into my creative journey, where when I was younger, a lot of my value was tied into my performance, and I think it's, for many creative people, that's a struggle, where my output defines my value, because your output is so much tied to who you are. And now I'm in a place where it's very much, you know, my value sits here and my output is separate of that. And my value as a person is not connected to my output, and that's something I'm kind of learning in my creative journey as well, is how to separate those two, and to understand, like, you know, and then also that extends to other people. The minute you start deciding, you know what, my worth is tied into who I am as a person, what I produce, other people's worth is also tied into what they produce, and so that's been, I think, a big part of my creative journey, is how to separate the person from the process and the product. I don't know if I'm answering your question, to be honest. It's a bit of a tangent. Do you want to know about my journey? You want to know the process?
Well, as a creative, basically what you do, but I think you answered me.
That's so random, because it can be anything, to be honest. I thought I didn't even want to be a designer. I went to AAA because I liked the prospectus. Like we know.
I feel you on that.
I come from George, and I looked at this brochure. If I knew then what I know now, I would not have followed this path at all.
Okay.
At all. My biggest thing was trying to get out of George, and I didn't want to go to Stellenbosch.
Okay.
I didn't want to go study something like, I don't know, whatever. There's nothing wrong with Stellenbosch, but it really just the thought of being around those same people.
But it is like taking George and then just going.
Oh my word! And so for me, I thought, what is a place that's completely unexpected? That is a place that I would never see myself being in. That is completely different to what I knew was available. And a friend of mine's sister went to AAA. She did a post-grad there, and so, or she was going to, and I saw this prospectus, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. It looks amazing, rather, and that's where I ended up. And I really wanted to do interior design. My whole life, all I wanted to do was animation and interior design. And my dad always said, well, there's no money in interior design. I was like, oh mate, if you only knew. And so you can make a lot of money off markup and scatter cushions. And so But I mean, that was my interest. My grandmother used to keep me garden homes with the plans. And
it wasn't about the money.
When I was in grade 7, I remember I asked my mom, she's like, what do you want for your birthday? I said, I want a wingback chair. And I just don't know how many, 12-year-old boys want a wingback chair for their birthday. Well, you know what a wingback chair is.
What is a wingback chair?
It's basically a chair. It's got, they used to have them in these old English manor houses because it was so damn cold and there's these big spaces. So they would put, it's like Alcatani and Claremont has one, but it has these two almost like, it's covered on the side. It's like a traditional chair, armchair, but it's for the drafts. But they just look so grand. And for me, I mean, you're looking at the garden home, for goodness sake. Like, that's what you're going to know as a reference point. Biggie Best in the garden home, and I'm from Georgia. That was Robin's Nest Interiors and Wingback Chairs. But yeah, and then it was just that thought of, I suppose for me, there was so much stigma around what interior design, I was a flamboyant decorator, and I was like, oh, people mustn't think I'm flamboyant. Well, I mean, I'm pretty flamboyant. But at that time, you have that feeling of perception and all that. So that's why I didn't do it. But in the end, I think it was probably the best thing for me to do what I did. And I think that's how God works. Kind of, he takes you on a journey. He knows what is best for you, even when you don't. And then he kind of works your path. And I mean, I wasn't happy in design. In my second year, I was like, I'm going to resign, I'm going to stop this, I'm going to drop out, I'm going to study something else. My dad's like, are you crazy? Just finish this. You're on a student loan, mate. I was like,
it's always, you always got to put that part in there.
Yeah, you're on a student loan.
You got to finish this, you're on a student loan.
Yeah, you're paying,
okay.
you got to pay this back.
Yeah.
And so, and I mean, even mid my career, I wanted to study architecture because I just felt so unsatisfied by it. It just didn't feel like it was, I just didn't feel truthful, it didn't feel right. But then the more I got into it, and I suppose the better I got at it, I actually started really enjoying it. And then I started getting into the crossover of it. And now I'm in that space. I've now been doing this for 12 years, and I'm finally enjoying it. But it comes down to, the creative process is so much about yourself. And yes, you are responding to a client brief, but you are also taking stimulus from a client or from whoever you're working with, taking that in, internalizing, reworking it, and then putting your own spin on it. And hopefully with a certain amount of empathy and understanding, reinterpreting something that the client, that is truthful to them. But you've got to have a level of self-awareness to be able to do that. You have to be able to look at yourself truthfully. And so for me, a lot of my 20s was not actually really knowing who I was, and not really looking at the world through my own eyes, but always trying to be someone else. I think I always come that thing about when I was speaking earlier about comparison and measuring your creativity to, or at least your value to your product. But even that thing about comparison kills creativity, I was incredibly insecure. And so that motivated me a lot. And it wasn't very good, not very healthy. It isn't. I don't think we work through that kind of thing, like who am I and what is my value? And so once I started defining those things more clearly for myself, not on what other people decided for me, it really changed my life and my path as a creative.
Oh wow, that's very interesting. It kind of reminds me of like, I don't know, I read a quote, life won't give you what you want, so it'll give you what you need.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that was, and you've got to just go with it. I mean, the other thing is that people go like, oh yeah, if you've got an obstacle, you got to climb over it. Some obstacles you don't have to climb over. Some obstacles you can look at and go, it's not for me. And if you've got to learn it, then sure, it'll come back again. But if you don't, tough, just move on.
100%.
Like, it doesn't always have to be a struggle. This is the other thing. Like, you don't always have to choose struggle. You can sometimes choose a lower weight. Right?
Speaking of weights.
Yeah, hello. What weights, Bert?
Segue.
How's that, Dad? How's that? My fitness journey, okay.
Yeah.
So I was always the kid who used to watch other children do things.
Okay.
So my sister was incredibly active. I would always watch her climb the trees. I would watch her climb the roof. I would watch her climb. She climbed a whole lot of everything. The higher she gets, the better. And I would just tell her, get down, it's not safe.
In your wingback chair.
And the problem is every time, wouldn't that be lovely? So when I was younger, and I remember every time I tried something, it would end disaster. So on our street, all the kids, they built this ramp. And they were all like ramping and wheeling and whatever, and I was just sitting there watching them. And then they said, and I was like, I want to try, but it's not going to end well. So they were like, come on, Pieter, when you chicken me, you see. So I was like, Muffy, and I was like, fuck off. Anyway, so I went and I said, okay, what do I do? And they said, go as fast as you can. And then as you hit the ramp, you pull. right?
Sounds like very good advice.
So I was like, cool, I'm going to do this. So I went as fast as I could and I pulled and I did a backflip. And I stuck my foot through the wheel with the spokes in my knee, and I was just like, what is going on here? So I just looked and I pulled the spokes out and I just kind of hobbled up, and that was, and I mean, same thing, I tried hockey at school, and I didn't play hockey, I was just in the back and I cheered, I was a back. I remember once the ball came rushing towards me and it hit me on the leg, and my leg, the swelling was so bad. This one chick came up and she said, "Oh, finally you have calves." And
roasted, eh?
And then I think I did. A mate of mine did Latin American dancing. I tried that, but with my arms and my build, it was just flailing all over a dance floor, which was really random. I tried for the cricket team in Standard 3. I thought like maybe I can play cricket. My dad never thrown a ball at me in my life. And when I tried for it, and then I went to look at and they had all the teams up. It was A team, obviously not. B team, C team, D team, E team, F team, G team, H team. And I did not even make the H team. And so, but I mean, there was and so for me, I'd say that would be a recurring theme. I was in a school that was incredibly competitive.
Oh, it's Nico.
Yeah. And if you weren't that, then it just wasn't good enough. And I think so for me, I tended to not participate because I just knew there was no real space for me. And so when I came to Cape Town, I mean, that was pretty much high school, was just like me knowing I was a failure. And then I came to Cape Town. I had a really good friend, still a very good friend of mine. He's very much into fitness. He started a boxing gym. I did a bit of boxing there, but I didn't like being hit because obviously everyone in the class thought, "Oh, I'm tired, man. I'm going to choose a punching bag. I'm going to go with Pete." And they go, "Oh, yeah, no, it's cool because I know you're not going to hit me back."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Okay, I'm not going to do boxing anymore."
It's clearly not a very good boxing gym then.
It was a great boxing gym, but I mean, like any place where people get blicksomed is going to attract a certain crowd. So, and then I did. The same friend had a guy who did kettlebells who came through, and that was really fun, but obviously I was lightweight, but it was actually really interesting. So I did kettlebells for a couple of months.
Just kettlebells?
He does kettlebell training, Russian kettlebell training.
Yeah, I know that's...
So that was really cool. And then I started hearing my knees click for a while, and then I was like, oh, this is a problem. And so then I saw a biokineticist. So riveting stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So all of my fitness journey is riveting. It's just wow. No Western Province colours in between there. Then I did. I went there for a while. I mean, obviously in between, I'm gonna get fit. I'm gonna live my best life. I'm gonna join Virgin Active. Yeah. I mean, I just like selling the dream.
The story, yeah.
The story. And you kind of walk in there and you walk out again. I did try another high intensity kind of thing. I went for one class, almost vomited afterwards. Because they had this whole thing like, we make athletes. And I was like, well, make me an athlete then. I went in, I realized, you got to start an athlete.
Yeah.
And so I was like, not quite. You're heaving gorillas over you. Like, this is not going to work. This is not a vibe. And so I did that for one class, but kept on paying for 6 months. And then... Yeah, I mean, that is pretty much, I mean, the biokinetic guy was really good, he was lovely, but again, it's very specific, so it's not really, it's like more just fixing, my knee was fixed, which is brilliant. And then after a while I came here,
How did you come here?
So what happened was, at my previous job, the one guy there was a super CrossFitter. Like,
one of those guys,
like, the whole, like he is like CrossFit Pieter. Yeah, he's evangelist, kind of what I am now. And lol. I just don't look like he does. But anyway, so no, not getting there. So he said, we're going to do a team building. Let's go do CrossFit. I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to give it a go because I realized that I need to get fit, and I'm not getting younger, and I can't continue to just put this off. And so we did a team CrossFit class at this place in the East City. It was really lovely, and the guy did the class was also really nice. And I really enjoyed it, but it was just in a really uncomfortable space, and I was like, I want to do CrossFit, but I don't want to go there because I don't like the area, which didn't feel very safe. And so it was always in the back of my mind, I should do CrossFit. Then obviously starting with Wayne and them, who knew Thai, I joined Wayne's agency, and he'd known Ty for a very long time. And he said, okay, cool, well, we want to help him with the brand. And I already had a sense I mean, obviously we know the whole lot of CrossFit, stigma. But what they said I really connected with.
Because you had a big role to play in the whole branding and stuff.
Yeah, I designed it.
Yes.
Well,
I mean, I designed it, so
I don't know what else.
Sorry.
So for me, it was also that thing. Like, you can't have the logo you designed up on a window and not go and check it out at least once or twice. But also, I just thought, I realized for myself, I needed to push myself. It was just the timing worked so well. And I decided to, I think they were open for a month or two. And I said, okay, fine. Because that I think for everyone, before you start CrossFit, there's this absolute fear before you start. Unless you're like an oak who's been doing it, anything like this, you're like, yeah, I'm going to push myself to the next level. But if you're not used to that, for a complete beginner, which I was, I was crippled, paralyzed. I was like, oh my word, I'm dead. And of course it's going to be difficult. That's the whole point. That's why people are coming back. I never understand when people go like, oh my word, this is such a difficult workout. Yeah, but you're paying subs for this. This is why you're here. So that's the point. Otherwise you'd be doing spinning. Well, spinning is apparently difficult as well, or power pump, So, and I had done power pump actually. It was lovely. Like, it's kind of like remix of remixes, and it's nice energy. Cool. So anyway, and then I came here and I did the first class, and I realized you're either going to commit to it or not, and that's the way you're going to get better. And I enjoyed it, even though I could not do a thing. I think everyone likes to ham up how bad I was, but I don't think I was that. I want to work with really shit. But I was pretty bad. But I wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
And then when I was pretty bad. But I was there. I was present. And that's where it started for me. And I think it's almost 9 months now. Which is quite 9 months, 10 months. How old is this? This place is a year. So actually, no, it's coming into a year now. I think August I'm a year, which is crazy. I thought I would be doing muscle ups by now. really. But, so I'm very disappointed. But other than that, it's been great. Yeah. So that has been so I'd say this is my fitness journey is this is it really. I was fortunate with the biokinesis. He's a really lovely guy, and he showed me some movements, which is awesome. And I think he fixed a lot of the stuff that wasn't good. My knees were buggered. I have flat feet, which were built up. I had hips that were all buggered when I was a kid, so that got. I mild scoliosis. It was it's really. I like to think I'm an alpha in the world, but here, absolutely not. And so it is. This is the thing for me when I come here. This is not a place where you are the best, but that's the point.
Yeah.
The point is not to be better than anyone. The point is not to be hyper competitive. And I think for me, that's what I really enjoy is you are. I actually say I'm competing against myself, to be honest. People are like, oh, no. I love not being competitive. I think it's quite unhealthy to be competitive because you're always measuring yourself against someone else. And for me especially, because that is my biggest stumbling block, is that constantly measuring my value to performance. It's really important that I ignore that. So it's fun to count your reps or count your weight. I really enjoy that. Even going wow, I just deadlifted whatever that was. Just for the feeling of having done something that you've never done before. That's cool. But it's not, again, using that measuring tool of success or value is really unhealthy.
Yeah.
So, and I enjoy that I can do that here because no one is competing against me, that's for sure. So it's absolutely
You'd be surprised.
fine. But it's absolutely fine, and I still have to work through those things. When you're in a team with these oaks are like, oh, I was in a team with you guys, Adam. And I was like, oh, these poor guys are having to go slowly. But I was also like, fuck it, you know what? Stuff it. We're all here to exercise, and if you are that serious about your workout, you cannot be with someone who's a little bit slower or weaker than you, get a life. Honestly, get a life. You're not going to the games. Maybe you are, but come on, rate yourself, Butch. Back yourself. So it's that and it's that constant thing you've got to fight against in your head as well. Where you go, do I deserve to be here? Or do I have a right to be here? And of course you do. You pay to be here. So flip and make it work. That's the point.
Yeah.
But this is a really great place because there are no expectations, except that you rock up and you give it your best. And there are days when you can't give it your best, and then that's also okay.
Favorite movie?
And this is my favorite documentary.
Oh, okay. I love documentaries.
Is a documentary called Paris is Burning. And it is about drag ball culture in Harlem in the 80s. And it is absolutely fantastic.
Okay.
Because it gives you insight into a culture that doesn't exist anymore. What's a guilty pleasure food-wise?
Food-wise, yeah.
Anything with custard.
Okay.
I love custard. Custard danishes. I love milk tart. But only the cheesecake from New York Bagel.
Advertisements.
I love pancakes. I like anything like oburikos, that kind of milk that pannenkoek. That's
Rusk vibe.
or cinnamon as well.
Oh.
Actually, I really like pastries.
Yeah.
I really like bread as well.
So you're just broadening it to carbs. Like,
Listen, carbs are great.
okay.
but not tacky carbs.
Yes,
like
I feel you.
Good carbs.
Yeah.
I can't do, and I like butter as well.
Okay.
But not like,
Yeah.
And then, other than that, I mean, I don't mind healthy food. I try and eat healthy, but then the weekends I just eat whatever the hell I want.
Sounds like a good strategy, good life strategy.
No, it's not. It's really not. I mean, you should see the way I eat. I buy a loaf of bread and I just eat it the whole Saturday. It's disgusting. I mean, I just like, but it's nice, it's that Woolies one, so it's got the brown bag. So you feel like, it's so classy.
Yeah.
And I don't drink either, so it's actually fine.
Yeah.
I don't drink alcohol. Well, I'll drink bubbles.
Worst and best CrossFit movements?
All of them. You know what? You want to, like, song, what I would love them to play here. There's a song I really want Ty to play here.
Okay.
It's called Anna Winter by Azalea Banks. It is the best song.
Okay.
I've listened on my playlist, my Google playlist, I've listened to it 140 times.
Sure.
For me, that would, I really enjoy when he plays Work Bitch by Britney Spears, because I think it is just anthemic, It's
got that.
It's got a deep, just speaks deeply to you. You want a hot body, you want a Maserati, you want a Bugatti, you better work, bitch. I wouldn't mind a Bugatti actually, but that whole thing, you want a good work, bitch.
Yeah.
So when I'm trying to pull my body over a bar with a box underneath because I can't do an effing bustle up, and Ty says, work, bitch. It's like, yes, I see you.
I see you.
I hear you.
Yeah.
And I'm now going to commit to this bar. That actually I hate. That is the one thing I absolutely hate.
What?
Movement. I hate that thing on the box where you've got to and then come up again. I hate it. When I see it absolutely, anything else I'm fine with. Like, I know it's going to be difficult, that's the gig, right? But a scaled bar muscle up is just the symbol of my failure.
Jesus.
Oh,
I don't think
and
so.
handstand push-ups.
Okay.
Because I'm always like piking,
Yeah,
planking, whatever. Like,
It sounds like, but you're making it sound like you're the only one who does that, when I know for a fact, I do class with you, there's about 90% of the class is doing scaled options.
I don't mind it. They're welcome to scale. I scale a lot, most things, I scale alles.
Yeah.
But that one thing, it's just like that one movement where, but it's also, this is the thing, this teaches you patience and grace for yourself. That's really important.
Well, imagine if you could just go and do 50 muscle-ups, boom.
Listen, some folks rock up here, hey?
And
they club, but of course they've been doing CrossFit for 10 years at another box. And they're like, the class, this is my best. The one day we're having class, and these boots are standing there, right? They were like, but you can see when someone's done CrossFit, especially when you got the CrossFit t-shirt on. So then they ask, okay, everyone, how long have you been doing CrossFit for? And it's like, I've only been here for like 3 months. Okay, I've only done 6 months. And then this guy goes and he claps it on a workout, and he's talking shit. He's just, when they go, I just need to, I'm feeling a bit, I'm going to just scale it. And then he's like, ugh. That irritates me.
Yeah.
Just be honest. There's nothing wrong with being fit. There's nothing wrong with being strong. There's nothing wrong with having experience. But don't play like you're weak. That's an aside. But but really, then they go like, oh, how did you do? So I'm like, mate, I barely managed the bar above my head. Oh, well done, Pieter, man. Well done.
Other internal dialogues.
Listen, internal dialogue is literally the name of a game for me with CrossFit. And that's why I love it, because it's so difficult, and there's no space for nonsense thoughts, and you have to confront the negativity about yourself and about others in that workout, because otherwise you're going to absolutely fall apart. And that's the whole point of it. And what I found incredible was that's actually what's unlocked for me here. I mean, I can see slow progression with my physicality, absolutely. Like, you know, you do a push-up a bit better, or you do a whatever, that stuff like that.
Progression nonetheless, though.
Absolutely. But it's the mental thing. Because you have to confront your weaknesses, and you have to accept them, and you have to have grace for yourself for them. And that, you know, that grace, you extend that to yourself, you can extend that to others. And that transfers to my work life, my personal life too. I found, even though I'm or maybe a bit more aggressive in a certain way, I've become more gentle and graceful in another way, which is really good. And I mean, you wouldn't think that maybe you would. I mean, it feels obvious that there'd be a connection between your physical, your body, your spirit, your soul, all these, your mind. But once you do it, then it really kind of breaks through, which is powerful.
Yeah.
And that's probably what I appreciate most about it.
I think there's a bit of a paradox because, like, what I've noticed is like some people that are really good at CrossFit, they're like the most humble people outside of the gym. Like, you would never expect somebody like Jay, like he's the nicest, he's one of the nicest guys I know.
Yeah.
And if you saw him, if you saw the weights that he could lift,
absolutely, you
would be scared.
Well, I think that's also what I find fascinating is that this is a small little world that is separate from the rest of your life, and I've realized
is it though?
Well, just in the sense of how you present, because my own prejudices have already been exposed. I mean, coming from a kind of jock school, you always had the dumb jock kind of mentalities. I mean, I think it's a coping mechanism where you go, if you're smart, you kind of go, oh yeah, well at least I'm clever.
Yeah.
And then you come in a space where, oh, you know what, the jocks are clever here as well. And so, and then you also realize, but you know what, I'm actually a hateful bitch. And so sometimes you need to, and that's also the thing to understand, like a lot of things I've had to let go, a lot of coping mechanisms where I'm putting other people down to make myself feel better about whatever state I'm in or whatever excuse I'm making for what my life is. Because I think it's very easy to make excuses by putting other people down. So going like, oh, he's stupid, or he's this, or he's whatever. And actually, no, and it's not about them. That's the other thing. When you look at people and you realize it's not about them, it's actually all about you, and you're just projecting the whole time. So that projection has really been challenged for me here. You can't go through life like that, man. It's absolutely exhausting, and it's a waste.
And you realize that everyone, what I've noticed as well is that there's a lot of similarities between your like sort of internal dialogue and myself as well. But like, you realize that everyone comes here for a purpose, and that's community, like at the end of the day, in my opinion. So it's easy to look at somebody and be like, oh, yo, that person's a bit weird, eh? Like, maybe and then you realize, hang on, this is, for some people, they come here and this is their only source of community, their only source of solidarity outside of their work and their family life. So for me, you see this place, it's like this sanctuary where, like you said, it's a safe space. You can come here, you can swear, you can lift weights and stuff, and it's just like hitting that reset button. Like, sorry.
No, but that's a very good point, and I think I have to check myself sometimes because people have a lot of grace for the weird I bring or the quirks I bring, and I have to extend that to others as well. And understand that this is, the world is a very difficult place. It is a place that expects you to conform or look a certain way, no matter where you sit. And so, if anything, this should be a place where you can just maybe let that go a little bit, drop your defenses, and if you want to dance like a fool, then dance like a fool. And I think it's fine to laugh, but let's not laugh at people. Let's laugh with them. And so
you won't get away with it, The thing is, if you're laughing at people
the thing is for you, it just also, even if it's just in your insides, it definitely does do something to yourself. Because you're missing out on this opportunity to let yourself go. You're missing out on an opportunity to be vulnerable. And it's not like we're all going to bring a bride to each other's house. It's not it's not about that. It's not like it's not, I wouldn't say those are the kind of friendships we have here. I'm sure there are those kinds of, it's not about that. But it's definitely a place where people go, you know what, like the world out there is a hard place. Cape Town is a hard place. And if anything, when you are trying to lift something above your head, you're at your most exposed and vulnerable because you are saying, I'm trying something that I might not be good at. And you can all see that, cheer for that, whatever. And that is very vulnerable. And so it's important that we extend that to everyone else as well. If you want it, you must give it.
Yeah.
And that's a really powerful lesson for me. I mean, it sounds like, I think that's why people are so evangelical almost about CrossFit, because they haven't really experienced that sense of community, that sense of just being okay, however you are, however you present, however you perform. And that's what I love about the sports, is the sense of equality. I mean, one of my most kind of profound, like Oprah light bulb moments was my first or second class, and obviously I'm Afrikaans, so help Tani, and we were carrying boxes around, and I mean, I could barely pick up a box, and a woman was walking by and she was picking up the box. I said, can I take the box for you, because that's what I'm taught to do? And she said, no, it's fine, that's why I do CrossFit, so I can carry my own box. And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that here there is no there's no there's no distinguishing between people. There's no I mean, I hate the term ladies bar and man's bar. I like to call them the heavy bar and the intermediate bar. But I think that's the thing about the sport that I really admire, or sport, exercise, whatever you want to call it, is that everyone is equal and everyone has a shot, and there's no requirement. It's not a place just for a jock or whatever. It's like anyone can come and anyone is welcome. And there's space for a jock to be complex. Just there's a space for me, like kind of a designer or whatever you want to call me, to also try the jock things. Yeah. Because there's all just really unhelpful labels that stop us from progressing and evolving. And that's something I've had to do as well, because I'm not evolving when I'm labeling others. And labeling myself. So if I want to get better, I've got to stop that and allow for the complexity of the human experience.
Okay, spirit animal, quickly.
My spirit animal?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't mind a bit.
Don't act like you haven't thought
shanty-bunty.
about this. I know you have.
Oh, actually, I have thought about it. Afghan hound.
Jeepers.
We'll Google and put a picture.
Yes,
So
Afghan hound.
Beautiful. I love them. And they actually, and they're quite hardy animals, but they're long and thin, and then they come in from Afghanistan, so they can run.
Gotta be. If you could have one superpower?
Time travel.
Interesting.
But not like Bran.
Not
like Game of Thrones. That's
just
like some nonsense, you're rolling your eyes back and you're flying around in crows.
Yeah.
Not that.
No.
Like a proper time travel.
That's depression. That's not time travel.
Oh God! Also, this is a really tedious way of wrapping up the show.
Tell me about it. Let's not.
No, let's not. I mean, I know we're big fans of
negativity.
GOT in the whatever this, the MCC.
But GOT in the MCC.
But yes. But that's not for me. Anyway, let's not talk about that.
Pieter, thanks so much.
Thank you, meneer. That was fun.
I really enjoyed this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll give you a hug. Thank you. Have a lovely day.
And you too. Like Oaks.
You can
just take the things that are the overtly negative things like that out.
But they weren't like...